All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to crack one of the biggest codes in all of biology, the huge difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. And trust me, once you nail this, so much of biology, from how your own body works to how diseases spread, is going to make way more sense. Okay, let's be real. If you've ever stared at a biology textbook and felt your brain just shut down from all the weird words, organelles, cytoplasm, endoplasmic reticulum, you are definitely not alone. It can seriously feel like you're just trying to memorize a dictionary of alien terms. But here's the secret. What if I told you all that chaos, all that complexity, really just boils down to just two basic blueprints for how life is built? If you can get a solid grip on these two designs, I promise the rest of it will just click into place. So let's start from the ground up, shall we? We'll begin with the absolute star of the show, the cell itself. So what is a cell? Well, by definition, it's the absolute smallest thing that we can point to and say, yep, that's alive. It's the basic, fundamental building block of every single living thing you can think of, from the tiniest bacterium to you and me. And, what does being alive even mean when you're this small? Well, it means the cell has to check these 4 boxes. It's got to have a metabolism to create and use energy. It has to be able to grow. It has to react to what's going on around it. And, the big one, it has to be able to make more of itself. It has to reproduce. And what's so cool is that every single cell, no matter what kind, comes with the same basic toolkit. Think of it like this. First, you need a wall, an outer boundary, right? That's the cell membrane, separating inside from outside. Second, you need a blueprint, an instruction manual for how to build everything. That's your DNA. And third, you need a workshop floor where all the work gets done. That's the cytoplasm and the tiny little protein-building machines called ribosomes. Okay, toolkit in hand, let's meet our first design, the prokaryote. Think of this as the original, super simple, and incredibly efficient model of a cell. And the name itself gives away the biggest secret. Pro means before, and karyon comes from the Greek word for a nut or kernel, which is what they called the nucleus. So prokaryotic literally means before the nucleus. If you remember one thing about them, remember that. So what does that mean in practice? Well, there's no protective bubble around the DNA. It's just kind of floating around in a specific area called the nucleoid. These cells also skip all the other fancy membrane-bound compartments, or organelles. No mitochondria, no endoplasmic reticulum, none of that. You'll find these guys everywhere as they make up all bacteria and archaea. Simple but incredibly good at what they do. Now, let's check out the other design. It's time to meet the eukaryotes, the complex, specialized, and highly organized version of a cell. This is the upgrade. And again, the name tells you everything you need to know. Eu means true, so eukaryotic literally means true nucleus. This was a massive evolutionary leap that completely changed the game for life on our planet. And this is it. This is the single biggest difference. Eukaryotic cells built a special, secure vault for their DNA, a membrane-bound nucleus. This keeps the precious instructions safe and allows for a whole new level of control and organization. But it's not just about the nucleus. Eukaryotes went all in on compartmentalization. They have all these specialized rooms, or organelles. It's like a factory. You've got mitochondria acting as the power plants, the endoplasmic reticulum is the main assembly line, the Golgi apparatus is like the shipping department packing things up, and the lysosomes, they're the cleanup and recycling crew. Every room has a very specific job. Okay, it's time for the head-to-head comparison. Let's put them side by side. This is definitely the part you'll want to remember for any upcoming tests. So let's break it down. On Team Prokaryote, no nucleus, no membrane-bound organelles, DNA is in the nucleoid, they're pretty much always single-celled, and they're smaller. Then you've got Team Eukaryote. They have that true nucleus, they're packed with organelles, the DNA is safe inside the nucleus, they can be single-celled or build complex multicellular organisms, and they're way bigger and more complex. So, why the two different designs? What's the point? Well, it all comes down to two totally different strategies for life. Prokaryotes are built for speed and efficiency. They're minimalists. Think of bacteria that can reproduce in just 20 minutes. Eukaryotes, on the other hand, are built for regulation and specialization. All those compartments allow for complex processes, which is what makes multicellular life, like us, possible. All right, let's wrap this up with some key takeaways. These are the things that will make sure you absolutely nail any question on this topic. First up, let's bust a huge myth. I hear this all the time. Prokaryotes don't have DNA because they don't have a nucleus. That is 100% false. They absolutely have DNA, it's just not neatly tucked away inside a nuclear membrane. It's more free range. And here's another one that trips a lot of people up. All cells must have mitochondria to make energy. Nope, not true. Prokaryotes don't have them at all. They get their energy production done right out in the cytoplasm and across their cell membrane. So if you're ever in an exam and you get a question asking you to compare these two, here's your game plan. It's a simple 3-step process. First, define both types. Second, list out the main structural differences. Always mention the nucleus and organelles. And third, this is the most important part. Link that structure to its function. Explain why having all those compartments matters. And hey, if you really want to knock it out of the park, try using a sentence like this one. It perfectly captures the whole idea. Eukaryotic cells possess membrane-bound organelles allowing compartmentalization of cellular processes, which supports multicellular complexity. That right there is a top-grade answer. And that's really the big idea here. This isn't just about memorizing some facts for a test. When you truly get the fundamental difference between these two ways of building life, everything else in biology, from evolution to medicine, becomes so much clearer. It's like having a master key. So now that you've got it, what's the next big mystery in biology you're ready to unlock?